We will discuss the development of cerebellum under 5 headings. The first one is formation of primitive cerebellum. Second one, development of various lobes of cerebellum by the appearance of fissures or sulci. Third one, development of cells and nuclei of cerebellum. Fourth one, formation of anterior and posterior medullary velum. And fifth one, the derivatives of isthmus rhombencephaly. So let us start with the formation of primitive cerebellum. In the metencephalon, the part of alar lamina that borders the outstretched roof forms the rhombic lips. These rhombic lips grow in the inward direction and forms the rudiments of cerebellum. Here are the rhombic lips. Now when the convexity of the pontine flexure reaches at its maximum, the superior and inferior angles of fourth ventricle approach towards each other. Due to this, these rhombic lips gets compressed and form a dumbbell shaped outline of primitive cerebellum. This primitive cerebellum having a midline structure known as vermis and two lateral cerebellar hemispheres. The appearance of various fissures and sulci in this primitive cerebellum leads to the development of the various lobes of cerebellum. The first one to appear is this posterolateral sulcus. Due to appearance of posterolateral sulcus, nodule gets separated from midline vermis and flocculus on both the sides get separated from the respective cerebellar hemisphere. So the flocculonodular lobe thus formed is the oldest one and known as archicerebellum. This archicerebellum establishes communication with the vestibular nuclei. It regulates the posture and equilibrium of the trunk. The cerebellum afterwards grows on the dorsocaudal direction, so this flocculonodular lobe occupies the anterior part of inferior surface of cerebellum. During third month, 3 more fissures develop. The V-shaped fissura prima appears on the cephalic slope of the cerebellum. This V-shaped fissura prima separates anterior lobe of cerebellum from the rest of the cerebellum. The second one is fissura secunda and the third one is a post-pyramidal fissure. So this appearance of due to appearance of this fissura secunda and post-pyramidal fissure, the pyramid and uvula portion of cerebellum are now evident. So the anterior lobe together with pyramid and uvula forms the paleo-cerebellum, which establishes the connection with the spinal cord and regulate the tone and posture of the limbs. The remaining portion of the cerebellum is the newest to develop and known as neocerebellum, which help in regulating the coordination of skillful voluntary movements with precision. The cells and nuclei of cerebellum are developed as follows. Initially, cerebellar rudiment is composed of 3 zones: the ependymal zone, mental zone and marginal zone. The migratory neuroblast from the mental zone migrate towards the surface where they form a proliferative zone, and from that proliferative zone, various cells like Purkinje cells, granule cells, Golgi cells, basket cells, stellate cells, etc. cells of cerebellum are developed, whereas non-migratory cells of mental zone, which remain close to the roof of fourth ventricle, form the nuclei of cerebellum, which are 4 in number, designated as D, E, F, G. D for dentate, E for emboliform, F for fastigious, and G for globose nucleus. The metencephalic part of the roof of fourth ventricle is occupied by the cerebellar vermis. The portion of cerebellar plate anterior to the vermis forms the anterior medullary velum, and the portion behind the vermis forms the posterior medullary vellum. The constriction at the junction of midbrain and hindbrain is known as isthmus rhombencephaly. This isthmus rhombencephaly leads to the development of the nucleus of trochlear nerve and mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve, which eventually undergo rostral migration and occupy its adult position.